Hello again, Mr. Pete here, your YouTube shop teacher at your service. Now, this is episode number 98, A and B of my What Is It Mystery Tools series. Several things. First of all, I do realize that there are some items that I am repeating. I think this has been on there before, but I'm trying something a little bit different in this episode in that I am presenting both parts A and B. That is, I'm going to give you the question here for about 3 or 4 minutes and then a short pause, and I'm going to give you the answers. So see how you like this format, and I'm only able to do that because I do know what all these things are. Now, if I didn't know, for instance, what this was, I would have to wait and try to determine the answer to that from the comments that people make. So please make some comments and try to help me make this series a success because it is a failure. So all right, on with the items here. Let me put a number on them. I will try to speed this up. I know I make them too long. What is this particular item? There's a name right here. I will buff that out a little bit and show you in the second part of the video. But we have like individual fingers here that are rods held onto a handle. What in the heck is this to be used for? It could be a back scratcher for someone with short arms. Item 2, and it has a name. I gotta look it up. I kind of forgot what the name for this item is, but anybody that actually attended school and graduated from high school knows what this is and has seen it operate. If you can remember that, there's 2 halves here, or some handles and some kind of crazy valve or cock right here. What the heck is this thing? What does it do? What is it for? Anyone know at all? Anyone? Interesting. This fascinated me when I was in high school, so much so that when I saw this at an auction 20 years ago, I bought it. As a matter of fact, I had 2 of them. I don't know what happened to the other one. And item 3, it's a little dunce cap, isn't it? Well, what the heck is this thing for? And it very much relates to something that I showed you in the very last video. Cast iron, very old, got some graduations right here. They made these in different sizes. Okay, so there's 3 items. Now there's a 4th item coming, and it's some footage that I have on my cell phone. And I've shown something like this recently, and it's agricultural in nature. You don't have to watch it if you don't want, but inquiring minds will want to know what it's all about. Okay, let's go to item 4 now, which is just pictures or a little video on my cell phone that I'm going to show you. I took some photos and some short videos while I was riding my bicycle here in corn country, and I took this video. I don't think there's any sound with this, so I took a video of a farmer working in a field doing a certain operation. I want you to tell me what he's doing and why he's just removing certain rows of corn. And here's what that field looks like 2 weeks later. And it's still about a month until the harvest. Let's take a little break, go to the bathroom, go to the refrigerator, think about this stuff, watch it twice, and then come back. You don't have to wait a week or 2 to see the answers. And we're going to see how that works. And if you like that format, let me know. But of course, I cannot continue to use it for items that I do not know what they are. And a lot of people send me things that I don't know what they are any more than you do. So see you in a few minutes, in a flash. Okay, well, we're building suspense here. I got a short story to tell, and that is my grandkids from Aurora were here yesterday. And for breakfast, they stayed overnight. So for breakfast, my wife was going to make them Mickey Mouse pancakes, you know, that stuff. And then all of a sudden one of them said, can we have donuts? So my wife went down to the local donut shop. It's not the Dunkin' Donuts. They have horrible donuts because they don't bake them locally. I think they're baked in California and shipped in here, and then they call them fresh donuts. They're inedible. I had one like that in McCormick Place too. I paid $2 for it or $3, and you know what? I had to throw it out. But anyway, that's beside. So these are wonderful donuts. So when she came back with 2 boxes of these, I said, well, how much was that? She said, $30 with tax for 2 dozen donuts. And it just reminds me of something that my dad used to say, and I didn't understand what he was saying until I think he was long gone. I think I was 30 years old. And it finally dawned on me. But what he would say is, you know, Lyle, the price on absolutely everything has gone up, what with inflation and all, except for writing paper, and that remains stationary. Rim shot. Okay, how many got this right? Number 1, it is, I brighten this up, it's a Proto number 2337 carbon scraper. I remember at the high school there was a whole row of these hanging up in the small engine cabinet, and they're used to remove carbon from the top of the piston or from the head. And I never did see anyone actually use one of these, so I have no idea how effective they are whatsoever. How many had that correct? It's a Proto carbon scraper. Okay, number 2 is a scientific demonstration piece called a Magdeburg hemisphere. And don't you dare tell me you've never seen one of these demonstrated. Now here's several variations of these in a very old Welch scientific catalog. And they made all of the apparatus that was used in science labs, but here are some that are just a little bit different shape. I like the cast iron ones. Maybe I'll put some pictures of this at the end, but it is used to demonstrate atmospheric pressure. So if you Google Magdeburg sphere or hemisphere, you'll come up with a bunch of great pictures. So check that out if you will. So there's all different varieties. There's lots of videos on it if you want to see one demonstrated. And there's some pictures showing you what's actually happening. Now I'm going to demonstrate this for you in just a second, so hang on. I'm pretty sure this exact picture was in one of my science books, and I was incredibly intrigued by it, and it also reminded me of a picture of 2 horses ripping a pair of Levi pants apart. You remember that? And there was another one for Casco or Costco glue, I forgot where it was, where a team of horses were attempting to pull apart the glue joint. I'm probably spending too much time on this, but here are the hemispheres, and they're very precisionally machined. Got a handle on each one, and we got a valve on this. Now, I no longer own a vacuum pump. I threw it out. I'm throwing out a lot of stuff, you know. So what I'm going to do is put these 2 together. They line up on this bolt pin, and then since I don't have a vacuum pump, I am going to be the vacuum pump. Now, I can't really create that much vacuum pressure, but enough to make this work. Now, another thing that must be done is that these surfaces must be perfectly clean, rust-free, corrosion-free, and then a fella or a teacher must take Dow Corning high vacuum grease, which is kind of like a thick Vaseline. See that? Now I've already coated those surfaces so we'll have a good seal. And now I assemble them, and I'll turn them just a little bit like that to seat it, and I'm going to create a vacuum like you used to do in a Coke bottle. You can't do it with a Coke can. They don't make bottles anymore, hardly. Okay, I've opened the valve. And I've closed the valve. Let me take it back to the bench. Now, of course, I couldn't create a complete vacuum, but the essence here is that we've got a vacuum inside, and atmospheric pressure is forcing it together. Now, if it was a true vacuum, a full vacuum, I couldn't even begin to break this, but I'm going to twist it and break it. I know that I can do it. Or, if I would open the valve, you will hear the air rushing in. I might do that too. Anybody care? Anyone at all? Actually, I can't get it apart. But now listen as I open the valve. I don't know if you'll hear it or not. You hear that? And then it comes right apart. Did you find that interesting? You know, I'm not scolding you, but I'm scolding society. I'm not even scolding the schools, but I am shocked. I mean, I am shocked at how little people know about science, younger people. They don't know that heat rises or how heat is transferred. All the simple little things that we learned in 7th grade, no one seems to know. And I am shocked. As long as I'm on a rant, I think I'll continue a little bit. I'm also shocked at how little some young teachers know. They come into a classroom, they're 23 years old or something like that, all the way up, well, even older than that, and they spend a good part of their time during the school day fiddling with their phones, and they have no right even having a phone in the building. Nor should the kids. No way. I'm very emphatic about that. Let me know if you disagree, because I told the principal that once while I was still teaching. Oh no, they need to call their parents. No, they don't. I went 18 years without calling my parents in school. But also these teachers, these young teachers, and I hope you're not one of them, you know, this is the main thing they bring to school in the morning. Their Slurpees and their drinks from Circle K and their phone, and some of them play music all day and they let the kids wear earbuds. No wonder people do not know what this is. All right. Sorry. No, I'm not sorry. What I just said is important. Cast iron, beautifully made. They didn't have to put this decoration in there. It is totally non-functional. It's all about being beautiful and pretty, even though this is 100 years old. This is a spoke pointer, and it goes right along with the hollow auger that I showed you in the last video. So let's talk a little bit about this. This is a page out of the 1908 Sears Roebuck catalog, and people enjoyed the catalogs in the last video. I was rather shocked. But there it is, a spoke pointer. It's a whole 34 cents. And there is the hollow auger that we talked about. So they're right on the same page there, because they are, well, not doing the same thing, but one is usually used before the other. By the way, that spoke pointer and hollow auger was often used on wagon wheel spokes. And many of you watched Mr. Engel out there in Joliet, Montana, big sky country, working on wagons and wagon wheels and all of that stuff. It's pretty neat. He's a great guy. Wish I could meet him. By the way, this is made by Stearns, a very popular company years ago, and I believe that name is right under the 3, so I'm not going to attempt to show you. And there's a depth gauge here. We can loosen this, and it's graduated. I'm having a little trouble getting it to move in and out, but it's just a stop is all it is. And there's the blade, which is adjustable, and this would be used along with a brace, the same as the other tool. Some people do not even know what this is anymore. I have to laugh. When I go to Branson, there's one barbecue restaurant that has braces like this as their door handles. Pretty neat. Off topic, I know. So anyway, a square piece of wood would be put in here, and this would be rotated until it puts just a little bit of a point on there, and the point needs to be the size so that it can fit into one of these, and then this would make the tenon. Here's an ancient stool from the high school they threw out because it had a broken leg when I first started teaching. And I sawed it off. It was a real high stool. But anyway, these are rungs, and this one's probably just a dowel. But this particular one has tenons on it, and that would have been done with a tenon maker, but an automated one, not the hand one that you see on my bench here. Okay, that farmer is a seed corn farmer, and the corn that you see in that field will be next year's hybrid seed corn, incredibly expensive product. So and there's a lot of labor involved, but they crossbreed. You know, it's all about breeding it's the same as animals. So what they're removing there is the bull rows. Those are the male rows that fertilize the female rows, which are still standing, And the females have been neutered, just like a lot of people like to do to their children now, so that they can't reproduce, or they can't self-pollinate. So the male, or bull rose, pollinated the female, and that's your hybrid that will be next year's seed corn. So they're chopping out the bull rose that have served their purpose. And it's the same thing here in the human race. There are many bulls, men, that they do you know what, and then they're on their way. They desert their wife, they desert the woman, and they desert their children. So it's humans mimicking a seed corn field. Did you find that interesting? You should. That's where your corn seed comes from, and it's shipped all around the world. Well, let me know if you like this format where I present both the questions and the answer in one video. It kind of brought it all together in one long video, and I know I ranted and raved a lot, and if you don't like that, of course you're watching the wrong channel. So I hope to continue this series for a little while. Now there are some still pictures at the end you might find of interest, but I want to show you something that I never show people, so stand by for this. I'm going to show you a little bit about the analytics of the last video on What Is It, and how little money it generated and how few views and all of that. And I know it sounds like I'm whining, but I thought you might find it interesting to see that, because you cannot find that information, because it's hidden only for creators to see, to help with the channel. There's just a lot of information that Google has. And matter of fact, Google probably only gives me 4% of the information. The rest is used for whatever their purposes are, and some of it, is evil. It's the big evil company. High tech, Okay, here are some of the analytics for the last What Is It. This is just a few weeks old, and if you look down here at the bottom, you can see that it received 8,000 views, which is not very much. I need to zoom in on that so you can see it. It got 8,000 views, and did it make any money? Okay, here's what Google said. It's looking good. This video has gotten 8,000 views, which is around the upper end of your what you usually get, you lucky boy. And then there's always graphs and charts, and you can see that it did about average. But let's take a look across here and see how much money it makes. Now, no one ever will show you this besides me. It netted 9 new subscribers, which is like nothing, and it made $42. Now I have to pay 25% income tax on that, so the reality is I made about $30 on that. And would you work for 1 hour for $30? Who would? Nobody. And you should find this interesting, that how did people find this? By 4,000 of them by recommendations, but through subscription feed, only 1,500. That's why I'm always talking about subscriptions don't seem to mean anything anymore. There's still one more interesting thing here, and that is audience retention. You can see that no one watches the whole video. So at this point here, that's near the end, or it might be where I put the pictures on. People hate the pictures. They always click off on that. And now something even more interesting. And it really is amazing that this is real time or live. So in the last 48 hours, that's 2 days, and this is an older video, there's still 112 people that watched it. So 112 people watched it within the last 2 days, and how many within the last hour? 3 people. So you can see these videos get pretty dead after the first week or so. They do not generate money or views. So you can see the relationship now between the number of views and the amount of money that a video generates. So, and this, what I do here is not really for money, but it's nice to know that I can make a few dollars to help pay for the many expenses that I have. And it's a measure of success. if the videos don't make money, they really are an abject failure and just not worth doing. And that's why you have seen many creators, even in the machine shop field, just quit. They just disappear in despair. So long for now.